Hey guys, this is Rainwolf, and we are returning with 86.
Hey guys, Kirito Silverheart here.
So, I loved this episode.
I about cried this episode.
The
I
field
should be
trains that
used
came
to it
in.
by now. I should be used to it by now. This show does this to
Choo
me.
choo.
Yeah, the emotional train wreck this show is, man. It's so freaking good, but so freaking emotional.
So, we started off with mech training. They're going through, then you get this one guy that gets cocky, and he's trying to go up this hill. Then he comes sliding down. Shin sees him, and he's like, okay. Takes a breath and flip.
Beautiful acrobatics work.
And that bulky thing, too.
Yeah, I mean, we see right here and there that these mech units are nowhere near as agile as what they had in San Magnolia.
No, because you saw the time it took for that flip to start and then to the ending.
Well, I think they also
They
you
slowed it
know,
down a little bit, but
they did the
still.
bullet time thing with it, for dramatic
Yeah.
effect. But at the same time, it took a lot of ramp up, as you
Mhm.
were saying, for the hydraulics to be able to do that jump, that flip. But on impact, the leg just completely severs on Shin's unit. And Eugene is sitting there in the cockpit next to Shin, which is interesting because we see that these are two-man units as opposed to solo pilot units, which is something we haven't seen yet.
Yeah, and I'm guessing this is in play so that one person can fully focus on piloting and the other one firing.
That's my assumption as well. It's just like if you were to look at modern tanks and things like that, you have the driver and the gunner.
And it's pretty much that also in a way, it kind of almost comes like a spotter or a sniper type situation as well, where you kind of have the driver, even though he's driving and paying attention, he can also kind of be a spotter for the far range.
Well, and vice versa. You
Yeah.
also have, the gunner who can quickly, we assume, sweep the field and observe for incoming dangers.
Yeah. And it's pretty, and I'm guessing it's for the ones that cannot, sad to say, the lesser of the soldiers
Which, I
that
mean,
can't
we've all
process
seen.
doing multiple things at once, but also training in on what's happening on the field.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen that this academy that they were starting off in, near the end of last episode and that we see glimpses of throughout this episode, it's a mixed age bracket.
Yeah.
I think that the 86 are literally like the youngest ones there.
They are, because, and we come to, it's not a solidification thing, but something is said later on as well.
Mm-hmm.
But they get, and then after this whole situation with the flip and them sliding down the hill, the commander has brought them into the tent. He's yelling at them.
Yeah, let's not overshoot the fact that this was a training scenario. This wasn't full field combat. This was a training scenario. And the whole reason that this incident ended up happening is because the cocky SOB in the one mech decided he wanted to try and get behind enemy lines, get behind the enemy for a surprise attack. And he comes up over this hill, and there was nothing there for him to land on. It was a peak, and his mech just topples and slides. Yeah, and I love the fact that the commander at this point is just yelling at him because he took his Feldress, which is the name of that particular model of the unit, and he's like, you exposed its belly, which is very susceptible to cannon fire or any kind of damage.
Yeah, it's the weakest point.
He was like, that's instant death right there. So he gives him a 0 for his field training in that exercise, and then he turns his attention to Shin.
It's like, are you insane?
Can I just say the fact that Shin stayed Shin in this moment, because
He wouldn't be Shin if he didn't.
yeah, I mean, he was deadpan, he was direct, and he was like, you may consider this an F up, but this was the best case scenario.
What's the use of losing both units and only using one?
Yeah, the guy was just like, what the hell were you thinking, jumping in a Vanagandar? And he was like, it was the best case scenario. Why risk 2 units when you can only risk 1?
Mm-hmm. And then he
And I love the commander, the drill sergeant, essentially. I love his reaction when he was just like, while that is a good point, what you did was stupid and reckless, and you got your co-pilot, which was Eugene, hurt doing it. He was like, so you still get a 0.
So they end up walking out, and the cocky one is like grabs Eugene. He's like, "Let's go." And by the looks of it,
He starts yelling at Shin. He was like, I'm not going to thank you for doing that. And Shin's like, you don't have to. He's like, you didn't have to jump. And Shin cuts him off. He's like, I said you didn't have to thank me. And I was like, dude, you're going to get decked. And I can't wait for this guy to take a swing and you put him in his place. I wanted to see that moment. I wanted Shin to deck this son of a bitch.
deck him, or just like if the dude swung first, and then just see him just get arm behind the back, pinned to the ground in a second.
No, you know what would have happened.
That would have happened.
We found out last episode that Shin, when the 86 were brought in, all of their stuff was taken. Like the para raids were removed from their ears so they could be studied. All their personal effects and everything were taken. Some little bits here and there were given back to him. One of the things that Shin never got back was his pistol, the one that he put down all of his comrades with. That's a big chunk of him that's missing. But damn good and well, if that dude had come up to take a swing at Shin, he would have slipped to the side, or he just would have put that thing right up against his forehead and said, and just not even said anything.
Nope.
He just would have put it to his forehead and been like, do something.
Stare.
Yeah. Just that deadpan stare of his.
Then we get the commander from the other unit.
The spider lady.
And he's like, I got permission. It's like, let's put you some distance. But we gets popped back over to the cocky head and Eugene. And they're telling him, it's like, keep some distance from those 86. They're working with R&D. Those things are insane. They were based on the Republic design. They don't factor pilot safety at all. They said dozens of test pilots have already died. And then it pans over to the rest of the gang, and it's pretty much a montage at this point.
Yeah, but Eugene calls it out, though. Eugene calls it out. He was just like, yeah, that's the rumor that dozens of pilots have already died testing these things, but there's been no injury reports and nobody's gone missing.
Yeah.
He was like, so basically he's just like, slow your roll with the paranoia.
Yeah. Well, and also they may also be going off of the people that tested them before Shin and the gang became involved.
That is true too. I'm assuming they would. They would be judging it based on that because, they've only been doing these tests for so many months now.
Yeah. And then we get a montage of bringing them through the unit. We see Theo and... Why am I drawing blanks on names today? But yeah, we see Theo and the rest, and pretty much going through their courses. And then we get Shin at the shooting range.
And I love how he picks up the pistol, and the first thing that happens is he cracks that smile.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like... It's almost kind of like that, damn, it feels good to have a gun in my hand again feeling.
Yeah. Well, they're fighters, and it's what they're used to, and it's something it's something that he's felt empty with because it's something that hasn't been there. That's part of it.
I agree, but at the same time, maybe this is also a chance for him to just kind of show off and be like, "Yeah, you think we're kids?"
It's like, all right, now time to shut some people up.
Yeah.
After that, it pops back over to Eugene for a second, and you see the cocky dude, he's spazzing out. Then it goes back to Shin. They're like, he's the Reaper. It's the words that come up. Bang. And then we see Shin and the rest around a unit. Then it comes up, it's like, are you all ready for a trip? And I loved this whole moment here.
This entire segment, this was what brought tears to my eyes first. Because they go out into the middle of nowhere, and on their way there, they're in this small... caravan almost, maybe one or two trucks. And they're talking about, they're like, it's getting late, are we going for training? Are we going for an, op?
There's something on that tarp over there.
Yeah, what the hell's underneath the tarp? What are we doing? And she takes them out to the middle of this field, and she says, so the last time you guys were here, this place was under Legion control. But in the last several months, we've been pushing the line of combat, and we've taken this place back. And as it pan out and shows the entire field, we realize this is where they all fell. This is where the Juggernauts fell. This is where Fido fell during that epic combat.
Where it was down to Shin's only unit
Mm-hmm.
at this point. And the monument.
Yeah, we see this giant monument in this enclosed structure with all of the broken up mechs inside of it and this wall. And she says that the soldiers in the Federation are remembered for their sacrifices and their duty. And she was like, they may not have been Federation people, but when we were scavenging the area and reclaiming it, we found the box that had all the nameplates in it. And we took the liberty of going one by one, and they put every single, over 500 and some fallen 86's
575 names.
575 86's names on this stone wall monument. And she said, and don't worry, we buried them back exactly where we found them. I was like, this is the single most touching thing that I think that they ever could have done for them.
Then the thing is, this was all her. I have a feeling none of the other officers were involved in this.
Well, I mean, her and maybe like her small squad or something.
Yeah,
like a small unit that, loyal to her. But yeah, I mean, this was an initiative that Giad took, and I don't see this as a form of, I guess, sympathy control. To kind of play on their emotions and force them into more of a allegiance with the Federation of Giad.
No, and they didn't show it as that. Like when it panned over to them, and then because Shin says thank you for your concern, all of them still have that straight look on their face of sadness, but also, and in a way, thank you. But they just for laying all our friends.
I think Karina was the one that spoke up and said thank you.
And then she brings up that you'll be working in the Nardlich Squadron. I think that's what it was.
Let's see. Well, we find out that they have officially graduated from the Special Officers Academy, and they are now officially part of the Giad Federacy Army. You'll be working in Nordlich Squadron, which is under her command. Her full name is Lieutenant Colonel Greth Wenzel. Yeah, Greeth Wenzel, commander of the 1028th Test Unit. And I love that. I love the fact that this is the test unit. Because so that means they're going to get all the fun toys.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to get the good stuff.
And then Federica, you hear her in the background. It's like, they turn around. It's like, she goes like, you didn't have to throw me off. They're like, what is that? It's like, don't look, it's a surprise. And then, that's right, and jump. The tarp comes off. Shin knows right away. The others don't.
This was the second moment I freaking started to almost bawl. Was fucking Fido is back, baby.
And it's like they even make us like, do you name all your pets Fido? It's like no, and they're all just like shit. It's like no, it's actually Fido.
Yeah, it turns out that when they were scavenging the area, not only did they find the box that had all the nameplates of the Fallen 86, but they found Fido. And his core was still active. So they just, it was still intact. Yes, correct. Thank you. It was still intact. So they put him in a new body, and they were like, he didn't want to wake up at first. Baby. Yeah. Oh yeah. Like I think they said it was like 4 times stronger than his original parts and everything.
And the funny thing is also, it's like when he first woke up, he thought he was dead and refused to activate at first.
Until they started talking about Shin. Which just goes to show you just how connected these two are. And we see it even more here. Because, while everybody's talking, Shin walks up and he starts talking to him. And he remembers his final words to Fido before they left him there. They told him to keep doing his duty, which was to protect and serve the 86. Which he was referring to the fallen soldiers, whose names were in the box. And, he said, continue your duty until you rust. And he never died.
No.
Fido doesn't look at him with a disdain. I mean, even for, an artificial intelligence like him, he doesn't look at him with like a disdain of, you left me out there to rot. He was just like, hey, you're back. I still love you. Let's do this shit. And he's like, what do you say? You want to go home with me one more time? And he's bouncing around and he falls and tumbles and he gets back up and he's bouncing around some more. And I was like, this is the cutest damn thing I have ever seen. I will never, ever call him dummy again.
And I'm not even sure which one it said, because it was either Federico or the commander. It's like, isn't he gonna get hurt? And it's like, then not crap, or no, werewolf.
Yeah, Raiden.
It's like Raiden. It's like he knows all his moves. He'll be fine. And you see this smile, and the commander's like, I didn't know he could smile.
Yeah. So we get to the next scene, and they're all making their way back to base and everything, and they're talking, and Frederica talks about how it's a tradition in the Federation of Giad to have a mascot, and she has become the mascot for Nordlich.
Yep.
So she will be kind of like the figurehead and everything, and cheerleading them on throughout combat and stuff. But then she walks up to Shin and says, by the way, I have one more surprise for you. And she pulls out his pistol and says, I got it back, and here it is.
And the look on his face is, and she was, it's important to you, isn't it? He looks at it and then he smiles. He's like, yeah, grabs it. And then the gang says, welcome back, from all four of them. And I was kind of hoping at the end of that, welcome back, Reaper.
Mm-hmm. I was kind of hoping for it too.
And we get the title card.
Yep, title card, glad to be here.
And the thing is, I wasn't sure which direction this was going to go after this, because it could have gone two ways. The way it went, or it could have popped back over to Lena to get information on what's happening there.
That is true. I think that this could have been a chance for them to show what was going on with the other 86 back in San Magnolia and with Lena. Like I said, I have a feeling that
it's going to be a while.
The new squadron's not going to be a factor in this for quite a while.
No.
If we see them before the finale, I would almost be surprised.
It was just a nice closure to the whole living in Giad, going through the little slight montage of going through the academy, and then now graduating, and now about to go off to battle.
Yeah, so we get the title card, and then we notice that there's a little bit of a time jump. I didn't get a chance to really mark down exactly what the time frame is here. I'm hoping to have that rectified by next week's episode. So if our listeners will bear with us, or if anybody has been keeping track of the time frame, between the different segments of the shows since the season aired, please post them in the comments. We would love the assistance, frankly. We have been very busy lately, but we go straight into the heat of battle.
And I love seeing battle again.
This is the thing I think I've been missing the most from the series, the season so far.
I fully agree, because we see, the other guys get their butts kicked, firing. Then the unit that has Eugene in it, as they're running, and there's a commander unit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right there flanking them.
And it's about to light them up.
Mm-hmm.
And all we see is a red light flickering through the screen, passes by them, and all you see is the Reaper icon.
Yep, the headless knight, or the headless Reaper, and then it's just Shin doing what Shin does best,
being
wrecking
stupid.
House.
Yes.
Okay, I was trying to make him a little more BA than that there, Wolf. But
well, you could be BA and stupid at the same time.
That is true, and we have seen this numerous times, not just in this series. But yes, we see Reaper, and he is just tearing through Legion after Legion. He takes a freaking commander by himself. He takes the Shepherd out by himself.
And they even make this comment as it's after this whole split battle scene happens. There's fire, it pans in. Shin is standing right on top of a unit, and then somebody says, it's the 86, the monsters of the Republic.
Mm-hmm.
And and the thing is, they say 86 monsters of the Republic, not a Pacific one. So I'm waiting to see the nonsense the others are getting into.
Well, at this point, I think they basically they don't call San Magnolia by its full name.
No.
The full name of San Magnolia is the Republic of San Magnolia.
Yeah.
So they
But
just shortened
they
it down
have
to
a
the
reputation
Republic.
of but they have the reputation during the academy and everything of being badass pilots.
Yeah,
They don't
exactly.
do the number of things that Shin did, but also with these new improved, I would say juggernauts, because that's exactly what they look like.
These are called Regan Leaf, specifically the XM2 Regan Leaf, is their full designation. But yes, these Regan Leaf units, I'll be honest with you, I like them more than I did the Juggernauts.
They look
They
cleaner,
seem like they
look
had,
more
yeah, they seem more,
flexibility.
yeah, more agility, more streamlined.
He's
I
not
do
gonna
like
break a
that.
leg doing his maneuvers.
Oh, we hope. We hope.
Well, we kind of see it because after the battle, he gets out, he walks over to the mechanic, and she's like, and she's fussing about the blades. Like,
yeah, have
we
you been
don't
using the
have a
blade again?
replacement.
Stop it! We don't have any replacement parts yet.
And it's normally in the past when he was in the Republic that Shin, stop doing the maneuvers you're doing. We don't have any spare legs for you.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, at least this time, we know that if they had the replacement parts, they would be freely given.
Yeah.
At this point, I kind of get that sense from Giad. However,
Yeah.
with San Magnolia, it was one of those, hey, we're only going to invest X amount in the budget to get these units. You crash it, you're done. That's on you. We'll send you out in the field with a sidearm.
And it even gets funnier too because as he's signing the paperwork, it's like we don't have any replacements. It's like, oh, the Legion are about to withdraw, and then you see the girl's look. She's like stunned, and then she's like, huh? Looks over, and she's pretty much not mad at Shin anymore at this point.
Yeah, because she looks up and she realizes that the entire Legion unit is in full retreat. They're moving away from the front line.
Mm-hmm. And Shin gets in the truck and he's like, you snuck here in here again? You can't get rid of me by begging the repair crew to help you.
Freaking Frederica. She's adorable.
But stupid.
She's an adorable nuisance, but I love her. I love this character. She adds the little bits of levity that the series needs, but at the same time, she keeps everything kind of level-headed and balanced to a degree.
And the funny thing is when Shin is talking to her and then she's going back at Shin, she was like, Brynholt was complaining. Shin looks up with one eye. He shrugs his shoulders.
And then he shoves her hat down on her head. And she's like, I can't get it off.
Like, help me.
But this is what I was
And
saying about Frederica. Not only does she add the levity and everything, I'm going to go as far as to say she keeps Shin human.
Yeah.
Because we saw
And out
all
of
through
all
the
of
first
them-
season just how much of a robotic monster he could become.
Yeah, and also with what Lena's effects had to him as well. Pretty much what Federica is doing now is kind of what Lena did back then.
Yeah, it's just, and not so much in a commanding officer kind of way, just more of a annoying little sister that keeps him down to earth.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, yeah, she keeps Shin human, and he needs that.
He does. Because if there wasn't somebody to do that, who knows when that step forward would go too far. There's the rest of the gang, but with them separated right now, how is that going to help?
Mm-hmm. This is one of those things. This is going to be a critical relationship, I think, for Shin throughout this storyline.
So now they're back at base. They're in the cafeteria. Eugene stands there for a minute, and he's debating to go sit with Shin, and then he just decides to go. As soon as he walks over, he sits down. Then you see Federica with her plate of mushrooms left from her lunch. Shin picks up the tray, scrapes them all but one.
Yeah, and some interesting information is brought in as we enter into the scene. The whole reason Eugene even knows that Shin is there is because as he's getting his coffee and his food, he overhears some of the other soldiers talking about, what the hell is Nordlich doing here? And he's like, hey, I know what unit that is. That's Shin's unit. He perks up and he starts paying attention to the conversation. And one of the things that I found probably the most interesting is we find out that Shin is now a second lieutenant.
Mm-hmm.
And he's running the entire battalion.
Because there's nobody else to control it.
Yeah, they even said that supposedly all of his superior officers are dead. which, given the combat numbers that we see with the Legion, that makes sense. And in all reality, Shin is the most one fit for the job.
He is. Then goes into, as Federica finally grabs with the courage to eat this one last mushroom. She's like, "Oh, I remember you. You ended up in Shinny's class at school." So they end up discussing for a little bit, and it's like and they pretty much end up bashing him this whole time during this conversation.
I mean, it's all in good fun. It's jesting and stuff, and it's a really cute moment with Frederica here at the table, talking, and she's having issues with her food and everything like that. As she's talking to Eugene and kind of reminiscing and discussing, some of the things that happened that we didn't see, because of the time jumps and everything, just to kind of keep us apace. Yep. She decides to reach into her teddy bear, which she has turned into like a backpack because she carries everything in it.
And now she has a camera with the similar bear on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she pulls out a camera. She's like, "Hey, let's take a picture to remember the moment." And Eugene's all about it, and Shin's just sitting there still kind of stuffing his face, ignoring everybody. And Eugene pulls him in to take the picture. And I was like, okay, that's a character moment I love.
Yeah.
It's like, not only do you have Frederica trying to keep him human and make him interconnect with people, Eugene's right there with her.
Yep. And he also brings up the whole thing of the mascot, but Shin actually tells him, like, it was her choice. We didn't force her. And Eugene doesn't agree with this of having little girls, because he has a little sister about her, technically almost her age, give or take a year or two. And then as Federica's walking away, one of the other soldiers, they wave, and then she waves back and then keeps on going.
Yeah, it's a cute little exchange there.
So when they step back, he asks about Eugene's sister, and he brings up a little locket. It's like, and we almost have a Hughes moment here, but with a brother-sister.
You had to go with that reference. Thanks.
It's the closest to it.
It really is. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not disagreeing with this moment, with this reference. But yeah,
because he does care for his sister a lot.
He pulls a Hughes and he starts talking about spending time with his little sister, them not having parents, so she's staying with her aunts, and
that when he gets back, it was like, "Oh, we're gonna go to a park or an amusement park or something." It's like, "Oh, since she's a girl, she may like going shopping."
And damn it, okay, so this is the worst foreshadowing ever, because anybody who's watched Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, anybody who's ever seen any war movie, just about, it's always the guy who's talking about, "Oh, when I get back home to my girl, or when I get back home to my family, or when I do this, or when I do that." They don't make it.
And what makes it worse, after a few of these lines, Shin has the look and looks out the window.
Yeah. I mean, they're talking and they're discussing the fact that the number of dead Giadians versus the number of destroyed Legion don't necessarily balance. They are obviously losing many more soldiers than they are taking out enemies. Again, we've seen that with the Republic as well, when the 86 were fighting in Spearhead. Mm-hmm. But Shin, like you said, looks out the window, and this is one of those moments of, we know that Shin knows that there's something going on.
Well, he can hear the Legion coming, and then he turns his head again back out the window. This time he actually gets up, and then a couple seconds later, the alarm triggers. And words are like, "They're never going to give up. I bet girls don't like them." And he makes that joke about the Legion. And what really, really bites right here is we get the whole cheery peace sign, and then it flashes over to a dark, dreary screen. With his hand.
He does the peace sign, well, it's not really a peace sign because he does have his thumb out also.
Yeah.
But he's using his ring and pinky finger to hold the locket in his hand, with the chain kind of draped around his wrist. And he was like, "Okay, well, I'll see you later." And then the transitional scene is that same hand holding that locket laying in this dark, dreary battlefield on the ground. And I'm like,
And here's where the Hughes example really comes into play. Because now we have one that's crying out for his daughter or his sister, and then death.
Yeah. Shin is on comms with Frederica. She's, checking in on him same way like you said earlier. We saw his interactions with Lena. She apologizes. She says, "I'm sorry." She knows. She knows what's happened in this battle. And Shin walks up to where a juggernaut has fallen. And I love the editing in this scene because they do these like quick cuts back and forth between the shot of the juggernaut destroyed and then like him finding his body and then back to the juggernaut and then
What happens before he walks to his body? He tells Federica to close your eyes, and then he cuts the unit.
and eyes, by the way, was in quotations.
Mm-hmm.
So this is Shin acknowledging Frederica's ability that she brought up. He's like, kill your calm, don't focus on me, don't come near me, isolate yourself, cut yourself off psychically. You don't need to be a part of this.
No.
And, we have these quick cuts back and forth of the fallen mech and Shin pulling Eugene's body out of the rubble, out of this murk and mess, and taking off his helmet and rolling him over. And we see that Eugene is still in those last grasps before death.
Yep.
Apparently, the hand that we saw holding the locket has been blown off.
Severed.
It is, it's severed, blown off. It is, several feet away. He asks for the locket. He picks it up and gives it to him. And then Shin does what Shin's always done.
Uh-huh. And then the cocky head dude shows up. He's like, you could have saved him. And Shin doesn't react to him at all. Then the commander shows up, pretty much stopping the cocky head dude. Because it's like, you could have saved him. It's like, you battle mad 86. The commander says, stop, Lieutenant Marcel.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you're no different from those Republic scum. And he apologizes to Shin. And he thanks him for what he did for Lieutenant Rex, or Eugene in this case, from who we know him as.
Yeah.
It's like, if you joined out with the desire to repay us for saving you, there's no need. We'll never force poor children like you to fight. And this is where that comes in from earlier.
So I'm double checking something real quick, because when the other lieutenant shows up and starts going off on Shin about not saving Eugene and things like that.
Well, the lieutenant doesn't go off on him. It's the other guy. Oh yeah, no, it would be.
No, he was a
he
lieutenant. Marcel, I think he was a lieutenant. We see that Shin has taken Eugene's dog tags.
Yep.
Now, I have several friends in the military, and I am more than welcome to be corrected on this. It is my understanding that military dog tags generally come on as a pair, because you'll have basically like two copies of the same information. Yeah. So I'm wondering if Shin was even going to turn those in for the report, because he takes the dog tags, and then he when the other guy shows up, he was like, "Oh, good, you're here. You go file the report." And he drops the blood-covered dog tag in his hand, but there's only one on the chain. I think Shin's collecting again.
Yeah, that's true. This could be because doing the marking on the unit is not a thing they do.
Yeah. I think the 86 got special permission, being the test squad, for Nordlich, to get their insignias put on their units.
I don't even think they would need permission, because knowing them, they probably would have done it no matter either way.
That is true. That's kind of a part of who they are.
Yeah.
And it signifies their connection with their mech.
Their mech and as a unit.
Mm-hmm.
And who they are as pretty much a person, because their insignia kind of really marks them as who they are.
Yeah.
Federica pulls back up the comms. She's like, Shinny, Narcolepsy has new orders. Gather up at point 2732. Preparation for a new attack. So I wonder if the gang's about to get together. If they are, this battlefield's not going to survive.
Yeah.
It's going to shut up a lot of people.
That, or it's just going to stoke the fires of more paranoid fear.
Yeah. I think it's going to split it. I think it's going to split it. It's going to split it, in my opinion.
But I love the fact that in the moments before, we get to this point, when that commanding officer on the field tells, Marcel to shut up and starts talking to Shin, he's like, look, if you joined the military for the Federation as a thank you or a way to pay us back for saving your lives, don't. He's like, this is not your responsibility. This is not your fight. You've done your service with Magnolia. You've done everything you need to. Go be kids. Go live your life. Go have a good one. And Shin just blows him off.
Yeah, because he doesn't care. He doesn't know them. And the reason they are there is because the person that kind of in the city that acknowledges them to fully, the president, knows in detail on why they, and it's something any of the ones that found them and also have been around since that time, I've always known they wanted to come back to the battlefield. It's who they are. There's no escaping it. And definitely with the way they were treated, it's like it's not something they can just walk away from. Definitely if a war is still happening.
Yeah, they're not done.
And they still worry about the other 86 left in Magnolia.
The quicker they can put an end to this war, the quicker they can save everyone.
Mm-hmm. The ones that are of their people, pretty much.
Fight for those who are fallen and fight for those who still fight.
Yep.
That's their motto.
And before it goes right into the end credits, you have Shin, his unit looks up, and then you get the flash of the eye, and then we get end credits like we did back in the last season, where now Shin is blue. His arm when he grabs the pistol. Let's see. I don't remember if there was any other scenes in this.
There's not. It goes straight to end card for the title for next week's episode. So again, we're back to that structure from last week of no intro scene, straight to the title, no point of view shift, between segments, and no post scene.
Oh. And I think the thing is, I think we're about to get back to, everybody's about to get back together because of the title card for the next episode is Welcome Back.
Yeah. Which, again, that's what was said to Shin when he was given his pistol. This episode, I think, is the end of the build-up. The, what's the word I'm looking for here? The initiation for the 86 in their new roles with Giad.
Yeah.
Because it was, okay, we tried having a normal life. We couldn't stand it. We wanted to get back in the battlefield. Okay, they made it through school. They made it into the military. They're part of the special Nordlich Squadron, which run and operate all the test equipment and everything, and these amazing new units that they have. And he's given his pistol back. And that was one of the defining things that was missing from Shin. That's why he had to smile, because he knew that he was complete and he could now fulfill his role that he's always had.
Yep. And it also leaves me at a point where, because at the end of last season, I did do a little digging here and there. Not a lot, but they're a little, I don't want to really go into the detail of it because it's pretty spoily because it relates to some characters.
Uh-huh.
That's where this Welcome Back could get involved. We can talk about it later, and if it does happen, then I'll throw it out there later.
I think I know where you're going with this because in some of my own reading and research, I know a little bit more information about the overall event arc for this plot line.
Yeah.
And some key moments and things that happen. I have actually backed off from
probably
the light novel.
The best right now.
Yeah, I've backed off from the light novel. I'm trying to keep myself relatively in the moment with the anime as it's going. So, but what I can say so far is kudos to the studio and every person behind this series so far, because they have done an immaculate job at bringing the characters and the environments and the situations from the page to life in this anime. And to the creator, you, sir, are a genius in tying in your love of history and World War II and political environment and things of that nature into this series. You have done a very, very good job of encapsulating what I feel would be a very difficult subject to broach because of all the mixed emotions and opinions about war and what it means to be a soldier and, duty and things like that.
I fully agree there, but let's go ahead and end it there. Once again, me, Kirito Silverheart, Unspoken for 5, and Grizzly Tyrant will be live streaming Back for Blood this Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Don't miss it. Let us have some fun, and we might dive back into Veteran and see us get our asses handed to us.
I'm not looking forward to it, but yeah, we can give it a shot.
Or we'll finish out our playthrough of Recruit and then jump into it during our own time. So remember to leave a like, comment, maybe subscribe. And this is Rainwolf.
This is Kirito Silverheart.
And until next time.
Bye.